If I hadn't lived it myself, I would never believe a story like this. It had been 18 years since my younger brother Evan disappeared. 18 long years of unanswered questions, cold police reports, dead phone numbers, hollow birthdays, and a house that never fully felt like home again. When a person vanishes without a trace, the emptiness doesn't just stay in the world, it lodges itself inside you. People move on, time moves on. But grief just changes shape. By the time I turned 57, I had accepted, outwardly at least, that Evan was gone. Really gone. And then, on a Thursday night at 11:47 p.m., my phone rang. Not rang. Buzzed, with a video call. From a name I had deleted years ago but still recognized instantly. Evan. Mobile. I froze in my bed, clutching the blanket like a lifeline. For a good 10 seconds, I didn't even breathe. It had to be spam, a glitch, a reused number, something logical, something explainable. But the contact photo wasn't generic. It was the same goofy picture from 18 years ago, the one where he held his rescue dog, Benny, and both looked like they were laughing. My hands trembled. No, I whispered aloud. No, this can't be real. The phone kept vibrating in my palm, and then I noticed it. A small line of text under his name. Incoming call, connected through unknown signal. Unknown signal. That was the moment my stomach dropped into my knees. I didn't answer. I couldn't. Instead, I stared at the screen, paralyzed by fear, hope, and guilt, all wrapped into one suffocating knot. But just as my thumb hovered over decline, the call ended by itself. The screen went dark. My heart, however, refused to calm. I thought that was the end. It was only the beginning. 30 seconds later, my phone buzzed again. Not a call this time, but a voicemail notification. My blood ran cold. How could there be a voicemail? I never answered the call. I hesitated, then pressed play. For 2 seconds there was nothing, only static. A kind of deep, echoing static that felt like it came from inside a tunnel. And then, a voice I hadn't heard in 18 years. Anna, don't look for me now. I stopped breathing. Literally. I pressed my hand against my chest as a wave of disbelief surged through me. It was Evan, not a resemblance, not an AI, not a close match. It was him, the same warmth, the same soft rasp when he said the N in my name, the same cadence he had when we whispered secrets as kids. My eyes filled with tears, but then his tone changed, from familiar to terrified. Please listen. Don't open your basement tonight. Static roared again. Metal clanged in the background, like chains. Or pipes. Then, one final whisper. I'm sorry, Anna. I wish I could come home. The voicemail ended, and I sat in the darkness of my bedroom, shaking so violently, I could barely press the phone to my ear for replay. Because there was one more detail, a detail that made the voicemail impossible. Evan didn't just sound alive. He sounded like he was in pain, like he was trapped somewhere, like he was trying to warn me. And most disturbing of all, I had never told anyone about the basement. No one. Not my friends, not the neighbors, not my late husband. No one knew that I hadn't opened that basement door in over 15 years, since the night everything went wrong. Long before Evan disappeared, long before the police and reporters and missing person posters. That secret was mine alone. Yet Evan knew. The basement. My heart pounded in my throat as I walked downstairs, barefoot, every step aching with dread. The house was silent, the kind of silence that makes you feel watched. The hallway lights flickered as I approached the basement door. That door. It had once been a normal part of the house, until the night I discovered something I never should have seen. Something that changed how I viewed this house forever. But I forced the memories back. This wasn't the time. I stopped in front of the door. Everything in me prayed there would be nothing unusual. But then I saw it. A scratch. A long, thin scratch running down the wood. Fresh. Sharp. White along the edges, like something, or someone, had dragged metal against it. Something inside the basement had scraped the door. The same night Evan called me. My breath trembled. No. God, no. The air around the door felt colder. Heavy. Like a presence was standing on the other side. Watching. Breathing. I took a step back. Then, another. Until I reached the living room. And that was when my phone buzzed again. New message from unknown signal. Hands shaking, I opened it. There was no text. Just a single image. Dark. Blurry. But unmistakable. A hand. Pale and dirty. Pressed against wooden boards. The same boards I was facing. My basement door. And under the image, one line. Don't let him out. My legs almost gave out. I dropped the phone. It hit the carpet with a soft thud. Then, a sound. A slow, dragging knock from the basement door. What if Evan was alive? I I pressed my hands to my mouth, choking on my breath as the knock repeated. Louder now. More intentional. Knock, knock, knock. But whatever was knocking, wasn't saying anything, wasn't calling my name, wasn't asking for help. Just knocking, rhythmically, patiently. I wanted to run. Call 911. Call anyone. But something deep inside me whispered, "That's not Evan." And that terrified me more than anything. Because if it wasn't Evan, then who was the voicemail warning me about? I forced myself to pick up the phone and replay the voicemail again. But when I pressed play, the audio distorted. The static deepened. The background sounds grew louder, metallic, echoing, unnatural, and Evan's voice came through once more. "Don't open the door, Anna. Don't trust." The voicemail cut out. Not ended. Cut. As if something, or someone, didn't want me to hear the rest. I covered my face, tears spilling down my cheeks. "Evan, what happened to you?" But there was no answer. Only silence. And the faint, slow knock on the basement door. The note I never wrote. At 2:10 a.m., exhausted and terrified, I finally forced myself into the guest room, the only room with a lock that still worked. I sat on the bed, hugging my knees, replaying the call again and again, searching for clues. That's when I noticed it. A folded piece of paper on the nightstand. I hadn't placed anything there. My pulse spiked as I reached for it, with trembling fingers. It wasn't old. It wasn't dusty. It wasn't yellowed. It was new, white paper, black ink, fresh writing. My name written on top. Anna in handwriting I recognized. My own, but I had not written this. My vision blurred as I opened it. Inside, there were only 3 words. Don't open it. I didn't sleep that night, not because I wasn't tired, but because something inside that house kept me awake, as if the walls were breathing beside me. I sat at the small desk in the guest room, replaying the woman's voice from that strange phone call at the gas station. You were never supposed to answer. Why? What did she mean? And why did she sound like she knew me? The clock on the wall clicked toward 2:41 a.m. The house was silent. Too silent. I finally stood, stretched, and walked toward the window to check if the storm had passed. But when I reached it, I froze, because the window was already open, and I was absolutely certain, that I had locked it earlier. Cold air seeped into the room, carrying a faint, metallic smell, like old coins or blood. I swallowed hard and slowly approached. Outside was nothing but a dark yard, and the shadow of tall trees swaying gently. Nothing strange, but inside, right below the window frame, were muddy footprints, small, barefoot, like those of a child. My heart pounded. I glanced behind me, scanning the room. Empty. The door was still shut. I knelt by the footprints and touched the dirt with trembling fingers. Still wet, meaning whoever left them had been here minutes ago. A sudden shiver crawled up my spine, like someone was standing right behind me. I turned fast. Nothing. But then, from somewhere in the house, I heard it. A soft giggle. A child's giggle, but deeper. Wrong, like someone trying to imitate a child. "Hello?" I called out, instantly regretting it. The giggle stopped. Silence stretched thick as the dark. Then, drag, drag, drag. A slow scraping sound, moving across the floor downstairs. Something heavy, something being pulled. I backed away from the room door, instinct screaming at me to stay inside. But then I remembered, the only exit is downstairs. And whatever was making that sound was between me and the door out. The scraping stopped. Breathless, I listened. Then a whisper floated up from the bottom of the staircase. You shouldn't be here. Not a threat, a warning. And I wasn't sure which was worse. I stepped back toward the window, considering climbing out. But before I could do anything, the guest room door handle began to turn, slow, deliberate, as if whoever was on the other side wanted me to hear it. The metal clicked. I stood frozen, staring, as the door began to open inch by inch. And the only thought in my mind was, whoever came inside earlier never left. I didn't sleep at all after the moment I saw the guest room door drifting open on its own. Most people would have run out of the house, maybe even out of the entire town. But something in me refused to leave. Maybe it was stupidity. Maybe it was trauma. Or maybe, deep down, I already knew the truth was tied to me. Not the house. Me. By the time the sun crawled up the sky, my eyes were still wide open, staring at the ceiling like it was about to collapse on me. But that morning, something even stranger happened. My phone buzzed. A text. From an unknown number. You weren't supposed to open that door. I froze. My throat dried. My hands trembled so hard the phone nearly slipped. I typed back. Who is this? No response. Then another message appeared. Don't let it see your face. Not again. Again. I'd never seen anything. At least, not that I remembered. That line haunted me harder than anything else so far. I tried to leave the house. I grabbed my keys, rushed out the front door, and jumped into my car. The engine didn't turn on. I tried again. Click. Click. Silence. The power was fine yesterday. This wasn't a battery issue. It was something else, something intentional. When I looked up at the house through the windshield, the guest room curtain moved. Someone, or something, was standing behind it. I had never pressed a car horn so hard in my life. Just a scream of panic, through a machine. But nothing happened. No movement, no reaction. I was trapped. I called Mom again, and she finally told me something. She answered with a shaky voice. Mom, you were supposed to stay away from that room. I told you. Me, what's in there? What happened to me? A pause. A long one. The kind that feels like someone deciding between truth and comfort. She chose neither. Mom, I'll come over. Don't go near that door. Whatever you do, don't let it talk to you. Talk to me. Those footsteps were small, wrong, not human. But talking? I didn't understand any of it. The house changed that afternoon. Around 3 p.m., everything went dead. The fridge stopped humming. The AC shut off. The clock on the oven froze. When a house goes silent, you learn what silence truly is. It isn't quiet. It's pressure. And inside that pressure, you hear things you shouldn't. Like footsteps. Too light to be an adult. Too slow to be a child. Too careful to be accidental. They circled the hallway. My hallway. The hall where the guest room door waited like a mouth, ready to swallow anything curious enough to lean in. I sat on the living room couch, clutching the phone, messaging Mom over and over. No replies, no delivered checkmarks. It was like she vanished. Then, a soft knock echoed from the guest room, not on the door, inside the walls. 3 knocks, slow, deliberate. I covered my mouth with both hands to keep from screaming. I heard it whisper my name. Around sunset, when the house was dim but not dark, when the shadows were long but not threatening yet. I heard it. A whisper so close I felt it brush my neck. My name. Drawn out. Wrong. 2 tones at once, like 2 voices badly layered. I jumped off the couch and backed into the dining table. Me. Who are you? Silence. Then the guest room door creaked open, just an inch, enough to say I heard you. I didn't move. I didn't breathe. Then something even worse happened. Little feet slowly stepped into the hallway. Bare feet, small, child-sized, dusty, but twisted, not shaped like any child's feet I'd ever seen. I couldn't see its full body yet, just legs from the knees down. But that was enough. Its knees bent backward, like an animal's, like a deer, like something mimicking a child, but getting the details wrong. I grabbed the closest thing, a metal candle holder, and held it like a weapon. My hands shook. My teeth rattled. The feet stopped, right outside the living room. It leaned forward, just enough to see me. From behind the wall, a small head slowly tilted out. But only half of its face. Just an eye. But not a human eye. Too large. Too dark. Reflective. Like a wet stone. Motionless. Unblinking. It watched me the way an insect watches a light bulb. Curious. Not understanding, but aware. Something in me broke. Something old. A memory I didn't know I had jolted awake. A flash. A blur. A scream. And blood. My blood. On a bathroom floor. Was that real? A dream? A memory? The creature tilted its head like it recognized the panic on my face. Then, it stepped fully into the light. And that's when I realized. It wasn't just imitating a child. It was imitating me. A distorted, child-shaped reflection. A wrong version. A corrupted copy. Something that had seen me as a child and remembered me wrong. That's why the footsteps sounded familiar. That's why the unknown number said, "Don't let it see your face. Not again." It had seen me before. It had tried to take me before. And I had forgotten. I locked myself in the bathroom. The moment it moved, I ran, slammed the bathroom door, locked it with shaking hands, sat on the cold floor, pressing my back against the wood. My breathing was ragged. I couldn't even tell if I was crying. Then I heard it. A soft tapping. On the other side of the door. Not knocking. Not scratching. Like it was feeling the door. Learning it. Then, a whisper. "You left me last time." My heart stopped. I knew that voice. Not the tone. Not the distortion. But the cadence. I had heard that voice when I was very young. I had heard it through a wall, through a vent, through a bedroom floor. A voice that told me things I didn't understand. That asked me to come play. That begged me not to tell my parents. I wasn't supposed to remember. But now I did. The creature outside the door had been in my childhood home. This wasn't new. This wasn't random. This wasn't an accident. It had followed me through decades. And now, it finally found me alone. Mom finally arrived. Headlights beamed through the bathroom window. Then the front door burst open. I heard my mom call my name, terrified. The tapping stopped. Silence. Then the thing whispered one more time. You brought her back. Its footsteps moved away. Down the hall. Toward my mother. I screamed her name and threw the bathroom door open. Mom was in the living room, frozen, staring toward the guest room. Mom, it remembers us. Us? Before I could question anything, the guest room door slammed shut with explosive force, like something didn't want her approaching. Mom grabbed my arm. Mom, we don't run this time. Those words, we don't run this time, crushed me. Because it meant one thing. My mother had run before. And she had been running with me. The creature knew her too. Before I could speak, something thumped against the guest room door. Hard. Then again. And again. Trying to break through. Not small taps now, but violent collisions. The wood cracked. Splintered. I backed away, pulling Mom with me. Mom, it wants what it didn't get when you were a child. The door bulged outward. Another hit. The entire frame shook. Something inside screeched. Not a child. Not an animal. Something in between. A sound that peeled something deep inside my nerves. That moment, Mom whispered, Mom, I'm sorry. I should have told you everything years ago. Mom, but now, you're going to remember on your own. The door snapped. The hinges twisted. And something began crawling out. Something fast. Something hungry. Something that remembered me. And I finally remembered it. But the full memory, the truth, would only hit me the next night. The night everything made sense. The night I finally understood. The guest room door finally gave way. The wood cracked, the frame splintered, and something crawled out, fast, bending in a way no human body ever could. My mother pulled me behind her like she had done when I was a child. It hit me instantly. She wasn't protecting me for the first time. She was protecting me again. The creature skittered into the hallway, its limbs snapping into place with sickening pops. Its head tilted like a child trying to understand a puzzle. But this thing wasn't a child. Not anymore. Not ever. It was something that had tried to become one. And it had chosen me. It knew my mother's voice. The creature froze when my mom whispered my name. It turned toward her slowly, that same reflective black eye gleaming in the dim light. My mother didn't back away. Instead, she spoke with a firmness I had never heard from her in my life. Mom, you can't have them. Not again. Not again. There it was. The confirmation of everything I had feared. The creature's jaw clicked open slightly, like bones shifting under skin. Creature. Two-layered voice. You promised. My mother's entire body flinched. Promised? What the hell had she promised? I grabbed her arm. She didn't look at me. Her eyes stayed fixed on the thing crawling toward us. My lost memory slammed back into me. It didn't happen slowly. No gentle return of forgotten images. It hit me like a freight train. I was 8. The house was different. Older wallpaper, smaller rooms. Mom and Dad fighting in the kitchen. I had run upstairs crying, hid in the closet. And then, someone opened the vent from the inside. Little fingers pushing it off. A small face peering through. But not a human face. A mimic of a child's face. Smooshed. Imperfect. Like clay shaped by someone who had only seen children from a distance. It whispered to me, come play in my room. I had screamed. Mom had rushed in. She saw the creature. She pulled me out, slammed the vent shut, and held me so tight I couldn't breathe. I remembered her shaking, crying, repeating, not my baby, not my baby, not my baby. Dad had blamed her for making things up. I remembered that part too. The fights, the nights she kept me in her bed, the way she put towels under the door. Everything suddenly made sense. My mother hadn't been overprotective. She had been hunted. Back to the present. The creature stepped into the living room now, its legs bending backward as if mocking human anatomy. But its face kept twitching, shifting, as if cycling through versions of children it had once tried to mimic. Different noses, different smiles, different eyes, and then it settled on my face, my childhood face. I nearly collapsed. Mom's secret finally came out. Me. What is it? What did you promise? Mom's eyes filled with tears. Mom, I promised it that if we ever came back, it could take me instead. The creature hissed. Not in anger. In eagerness. Like it remembered the bargain too. I shook my head violently. Me, Mom. No. We're leaving. We can leave right now. But she squeezed my hand so tight, my fingers stung. Mom. We ran before. We can't run now. It will follow you forever. The creature crawled closer, feet tapping, hands dragging, mouth stretching too wide. Mom stepped forward, and I realized her plan. She walked toward it slowly, not shaking, not scared, accepting. I grabbed her arm desperately. Me, Mom, stop, please. She turned to me and whispered the most heartbreaking words I've ever heard. Mom, you deserve a life not built on my fear. Her fear. No, my trauma. Our trauma. She continued walking until she was face to face with the creature. I screamed at her, begged her, pulled at her. She didn't turn back. The creature touched her cheek with one crooked finger, almost gently, like it was choosing, claiming, remembering. And then, I did something I never thought I could. I stepped between them. My body moved before my mind could catch up. Mom gasped. The creature froze. It looked at me with a strange recognition. A tilt of the head. A twitch in the jaw. Like it remembered the last time we stood face to face. Like it remembered losing me. I whispered, me. If you want someone, take me. Mom screamed my name. I didn't move. The creature leaned in. We stared at each other. And then, something unexpected happened. It shook its head. Slowly, softly, like a child refusing a toy. Creature, you left me once. You won't leave again. Leave what? Leave who? My breath caught. It didn't want me now. It wanted the child version of me. The version it almost captured. The version I had forgotten. The version I could never return to. I was no longer the thing it wanted. And that realization saved my life. It turned its eyes toward my mother. And then everything clicked into place. It didn't want adults. It never had. It wanted the children it failed to copy. It wanted the ones who got away. It wanted unfinished business. In between us, Mom had been the one who broke its promise, not me. It hissed in frustration, its body jerking, face shifting to something monstrous and furious. It lunged. But not at me, at her. The final moment, something primal exploded inside me. A scream I didn't know I had. Strength I didn't know I owned. I grabbed the heavy metal floor lamp and swung it with everything in me. It connected with a crack that echoed through the house. The creature shrieked, fell back, skittered away, scrambling into the guest room like a shattered spider. The door slammed, the walls shook, and then, silence. A silence so pure, it rang in my bones. I collapsed on the floor, sobbing. Mom held me, shaking harder than I was. What I understood that night. It wasn't haunting the house. It wasn't trapped behind a door. It wasn't tied to darkness or rituals or curses. It was tied to us. It came through cracks, vents, openings, moments of fear. It came because it remembered me, because it remembered the child I used to be. But it was fading now. Not gone, never gone. Just weaker, broken, waiting for another chance. Mom and I left the house that night. We didn't pack. We didn't look back. As we reached the car, Mom whispered, "Mom, do you believe me now?" I nodded silently, because I finally understood. The worst hauntings aren't the ones we see. They're the ones we forget, until they remember us first.